I will argue until I am blue in the face that the pen tool is probably the most commonly used tool in Illustrator. I think I use it every single time I work in Illustrator. I don't think there's an Illustrator file out there where I did not use the pen tool. So it's a really good tool to understand how to use and understand how to use efficiently. Because if you're not using it efficiently, well, then you're not efficient. Let's learn how to use the pen tool. First things first, let's get our artboard open. V is your keyboard shortcut for select. P is your keyboard shortcut for the pen tool. Memorize those keyboard shortcuts. If you don't know any keyboard shortcuts, those are the first ones you need to know. Pen tool, the pencil tool, and the brush tools are all how you kind of draw, and that's how you kind of illustrate in Illustrator. The pen tool is all about your anchor points. And so there's different ways to manipulate the anchor points and create them or delete them to get the outcome that you're looking for in your project. So with the pen tool selected, you can freely move around your artboard. It's not going to do anything. You have to click, obviously, in the artboard to create something. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my fill is at nothing. I have a blank fill here and I have a black stroke. I'm going to have the stroke at a 3 point so you can actually see what I'm doing. If I just click and I move my mouse over, you can see I'm going to create a line here. If I press and hold shift, it's going to direct that line to be straight. And then if I'm holding down the shift and I move the pen tool down, once I get so low, it's going to go to a 45-degree angle, to a 90-degree angle, and keep doing that all around to an entire kind of 360 view or 360 ability to draw straight lines. Now, I can press V for select and it will get out of the pen tool. So now I have this line and I'm going to click off so that I'm no longer selecting the line that I just created. I'm going to click and drag this into the middle of the artboard so you can see what I'm doing. Let's select it. Let's go ahead and talk about the anchor point tool. I can select and move, and I'm going to move that line up. And as you can see, I have handles here. If I move this, I'm going to basically adjust the curvature of the line itself. I can click on an anchor point and continue to draw. I can close this, and then I can go to my anchor point tool again, or press Shift plus C for the keyboard shortcut. And I can do the same thing on the other side, adjusting the handles. I can delete, if I select the anchor point itself, I can delete the curvature of it, and then I can kind of modify and twist. Same with this, if I select it, it's going to delete where the line comes in and out of the anchor point. It's going to completely erase that, and it's going to create just like a sharp corner where then you can modify how the lines curve in and out of the anchor point. And this handle is how you do that. So I can move this side where the line goes into the anchor point. Let's talk about if I wanted to not use this anchor point tool. I honestly don't use the anchor point tool that often. When I am drawing with the pen tool, I'm gonna select to create my first anchor point. Sometimes if you are drawing something, let's just say I'm gonna draw, a line that has a little loop-de-loo. I'm gonna shift and hold and create my next anchor point so I know where the line's going to start and finish. And then I select the curvature tool, oops, not the brush tool, the curvature tool. I'm gonna press escape so I'm no longer creating a line off of the last anchor point that I selected. You can place anchor points throughout the line, and then you can move these. So the anchor points are gonna keep the line kind of where it is. Now, if I wanna make just a little loop-de-loo, I can create enough anchor points to where I can get kind of the shape that I'm looking for. I can create that line that I wanted, the little loop-de-loo line. So I can just place anchor points, moving them as I go through the line, or I can just place a couple of anchor points throughout the line and then start moving them around and see what I come up with. Or we can start here. When you click and hold, you can then curve the line, and it's gonna create that anchor point and allow you to kind of curve it around. And then you're gonna basically create lines that are going to curve based on the anchor point that you've already placed. This anchor point that I just placed is kind of reverted, so you can revert anchor points by double clicking on the line or double clicking on a curvature point that's already placed. You can make it to be a smooth anchor point basically, or a cornered piece to where you're gonna have straight lines coming from that anchor point. Sometimes this takes a lot of time though, so a lot of times I will just place the first anchor point, the last anchor point where I want the line to start and finish, and then I kind of adjust and modify by adding all the anchor points within that line until I get the pattern or the shapes or whatever that I want. So let's delete these. Let's start with this line again. I'm gonna press escape to get out of this continuing to draw from the last anchor point placed. If I wanted to take this and say I wanted to make this anchor point, I wanted to revert it. So it is a like an edge or a corner piece versus a smooth anchor point. I can double click it. It'll turn into like a reverted anchor point, which means that it is going to be a sharp edge. I can do this for each of these, and now I have a zigzag. And whenever you look at those anchor points, if you press the curvature tool, you see it's a circle with a dot in it. That means that it's a corner piece, basically. The lines that are gonna come in and out of that anchor point are going to be straight lines versus a smooth curvy point. If I double click this again, that'll revert it back to being like a smooth anchor point. So let's say, I'm gonna grab my text tool, my type tool, sorry. I'm gonna type in design. I'm gonna hold shift and I'm gonna drag this out to increase the scale of it. I am going to switch it to, I guess, impact. That's a good go-to. I will do an entirely different video on typography and modifying type and like customizing type if you would like. Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna create outlines and then I'm gonna ungroup this. There's curvy points in impact in this type itself, but a lot of the corners are very sharp. So let's just say I wanted to add some like variation to this word design. First, I'm gonna release this, which releases the dot from the stem of the eye. If I select the anchor point tool, I'm gonna totally adjust the way that the lines like come in and out of this anchor point. Just like that, I've created a new tittle. I'm gonna undo all of that though. If I select the curvature, I'm just going to place anchor points, or I can delete this anchor point. I can just double click on all of these and kind of make a very smooth circle and move it up and do that. Have the tittle be not so boxy and rectangular and have it more oval or ovular circle, a circle. I can select this G, and with the curvature tool, I mean, I can completely get rid of these sharper curvature points and add some customization that way. This is a really like easy and quick way to customize shapes and type and anything really, and just make it a little bit more customized, a little bit more quirky, or whatever you want to do with it. This is such a versatile tool. The pen tool and the curvature tools are so versatile. I use them in everything. I can just adjust letters to be exactly how I want them. So we've taken this rigid typeface of impact and we've kind of made it our own. Now the pen tool is different from the pencil tool. If you actually want to draw, which you can do with a mouse or a trackpad, it's just very tedious and it's harder to do that way if you don't have like a drawing pad. You don't even need like a really expensive drawing pad. I have a step up from the cheapest Wacom tablet that they make. It's not digital, it's just a regular drawing pad. I hook it up to my computer and then I can see on my computer screen like what I'm actually drawing while I draw on the pad. If you can get one of those, you can use the blob brush tool or the pencil tool to actually illustrate and draw. Without it, you can still draw with the pencil tool or the blob brush tool, but it's just gonna be a little bit harder. If you're not like illustrating something, you don't need to like draw freehand. The pen tool is a really great way to create any sort of vector art. I mean, whether you're creating like logos or icons or branding assets, anything that you're creating, the pen tool is awesome. I got my degree in design and I knew like a quarter of what I know now just from practicing in Illustrator and being consistent with it and doing my best. This tutorial was short, but I hope it was sweet. And if it helped, let me know in the comments below. My name's Heather. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.